we're going to bring our hands down to the ground or to blocks. We're going to put the weight into our left foot and inhale, cross the right leg behind the left foot here, rebalancing your weight over the legs here, and breathing into the back of the legs, the hamstrings, the calves. Coming back through center. Then putting the weight into the right foot, we're going to cross the left leg behind the right. Coming into balance here over the legs. We're dropping the head. Nice. Inhaling back to center. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, step to high push-up. Exhale, chaturanga, keeping the heart lifted. Inhale, coming through upward facing dog. Exhale, rolling over the toes, downward facing dog. Nice, 2 breaths here. On your next exhale, step or hop forward. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, extend a mountain pose, and exhale the hands down. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, step or hop, and go through your vinyasa. Feeling free to take downward facing dog, child's pose, whatever feels right for you. Meeting in downward facing dog. On your next inhale, lift your right leg up. Begin to open up the hips here, stacking the hips, bringing the right heel towards the left bum. Taking a look all under your right shoulder. And letting that foot get nice and heavy here. Really stretching through the hips. Staying here, we're dropping your foot, coming into reaching your right hand down to where the carpet meets the wall. Bringing that right hand around, flipping that dog back over, keeping the leg lifted. Inhale, come to high plank. We're going to do around the clock here, bringing the right knee towards the upper tricep, left wrist, right wrist. Upper right tricep, left wrist, right wrist. Kick that foot back out, downward facing dog. Nice, resetting, finding your foundation, listening to your truth, being kind to yourself, and coming back to the breath. If there's one thing I want you to get from this practice today, although there's 3, I want you to know that you breathed well throughout class. So taking a nice deep inhale through the nose, sighing it out through the mouth. Inhale again. Sigh it out. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Begin to open the hips, stacking them up. And then dropping the heel down, taking a look under your left shoulder. Letting that back foot get nice and heavy. Flipping your dog, finding wild thing. Reaching that left hand forward. Maybe even coming into wheel if that's in your practice. Maybe you're just in 3-legged dog. That's all right. Then flipping the dog back over, keeping that leg lifted. And keeping that leg lifted as you shift into high plank. Bring the knee to the left tricep, right knee, or right wrist, left wrist. Left tricep, right wrist, left wrist, kick it back. Nice, finding your high plank here. Drawing the belly in, finding the side body lengthen. And then push back to downward facing dog. Coming down onto the knees. And let's stretch out the wrists a little bit. Bringing the hands towards the body. They can be out towards the sides of the mat too. Just listening to your mobility and your wrists. Everybody is different. And then bringing the fingertips pointing to either side of the mat, right and left. Then slowly shifting the shoulders over the wrists here. And then coming on to the tops of the hands, curling the fingers towards the body, and just shifting back and forth a few times. Nice. Coming back to sitting on our heels, just taking a few circle wrists to the right, to the left. And then dive the hands forward, push the hips up and back, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, Virabhadrasana 1, right foot forward, warrior 1. Finding your foundation first, and then lifting the hands up. Pushing that front knee forward and towards the pinky toe edge. Finding equal weight distributed. Nice. Exhale the hands down. Keep the leg lifted and go through your vinyasa. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. Set the foot down and then roll over the toes, downward facing dog. Left foot forward, Virabhadrasana 1. Finding your foundation. Right, and staying finding your foundation, equal weight distributed, right hip moving towards the front of the room, left hip crease back. And then bring the hands down, keep the leg lifted if that's in your practice, and go through your vinyasa. Feeling the body warm up. Nice. Pedaling up the feet a few more times. And then coming down onto our forearms, walking the feet towards the body for dolphin. Really pushing out through the hands, but also drawing the elbows towards one another. Coming back up onto the hands. Right foot forward, warrior 2. Setting up the foundation, cartwheeling the hands open. Checking in with that back hand, making sure it's nice and engaged. We're going to add a little flow. So bringing that back hand down, the right hand up, reversed warrior. Exhale, extended side angle with the forearm on the leg. Inhale, bring that back hand down, right hand up. Exhale, extended side angle. One more time, inhale, that back hand is down, right hand up. Stay for a breath. And then exhale, bring that right hand, the right forearm down to the thigh, or bring that right hand inside the leg. Finding your side angle here. Pushing the elbow and the knee towards one another. Opening up the heart towards the ceiling. And then bringing the hand towards the front of the room to feel that opening all the way from the fingertips to the toes. Nice. Bring that left hand down, pivot the back toes, reach the right hand up. Find revolved side angle. Breathing, stretching, gaze up. Set that back knee down, bring both hands to the inside of the foot. Heel toe that foot, the right foot out a little bit. Untuck the toe or keep the toe tucked and come into your variation of lizard. So staying up on your hands, coming down onto a block or the forearms. And breathing into the hips as we open them up here. Maybe bringing that right hand on the knee to really help open up even more. Coming back to the idea that yoga is here to serve our bodies and the mind, not to harm us. So backing off from any of the pain, backing off from sharp or shooting pain if you feel it. One more breath here. Bring the hands back to the ground if they aren't there already. Heel toe that foot back between the hands and find your downward facing dog. Nice. Maybe becoming aware of the length and the space that we're creating in the body. The space so that we can have a little stillness. So that when it comes time, we can be truthful with ourselves and not act from a primitive mind, from our emotions. On your next exhale, step that left foot forward, finding Virabhadrasana 2, cartwheeling the hands open. Yeah, finding the foundation, the weight equally spread, the shoulders dropping away from the ears, the drishti over the front fingertips. And then let's come into that baby flow, dropping that back hand, finding revolve warrior, and then exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, revolve, side angle, just moving with the breath, feeling how it feels good to feel, noticing how it feels good to add a little bit of movement into our practice. And then drop that left hand down all the way to the ground, or keep yourself lifted up on the thigh. Taking the gaze up to the ceiling, still pushing in that back foot. And then bring the right hand towards the front of the room. Feeling that fascia in the body open up. Coming back to the breath anytime our mind wanders or we begin to listen to the story. Drop that right hand down, pivot on the back toes, reach that left arm up. Drawing the front knee and the elbow towards one another as you bring your gaze up to the ceiling. Bring that left hand down, heel toe that feet out, and find your variation of lizard. Maybe even rolling up onto the outside of the left foot. Maybe bringing the left hand to the knee to open yourself up. So it's important for us to be honest with ourselves and kind to ourselves, because when we disconnect with our higher selves, our minds become confused, and then we can't trust ourselves. So we're doing this not only for those around us and how we interact with those around us, but for ourselves, so that we can trust ourselves, so that we don't have to rely on our instantaneous, primitive emotions, but know that we can breathe through things. That we can be honest with ourselves and see things for how they are and not how we wish they were. One more breath here. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders and bring that foot back. Downward facing dog. Nice. Staying for 2 more breaths. Coming up onto the toes, walk the feet forward. And then let's just try to come into our hands here, dropping the head. And let's try some toe taps on the back of our wrists. Placing our weight in our hands, lift the right foot up, tap the wrist. Other side. And just try. Yeah, my left foot doesn't want to do it today. And that's okay. Dropping the head, sliding the hands underneath the feet for gorilla, letting the toes come up onto the wrist to give ourselves a nice little massage. Planting down into our hands, coming back onto the toes and tiptoeing them back out. Downward facing dog. Now we're going to step we're going to hop our feet out to Malasana, yogi squat. So taking the gaze forward, bending the knees, hopping up, and finding your yogi squat. Yeah, really letting the chest come forward, the back get nice and straight, bringing the hands to the palms here. And maybe you bring a block underneath your seat for a little support. Maybe you bring a block between your hands to help push your knees out to really open up in the hips. Nice. Release the block, drop the hands down, and sit the bum all the way down. Woo. Beautiful. We're going to come slowly onto our back. Slowly, slowly. Nice. Beautiful. We are going to come into bridge pose. So bringing our knees hip width distance, our feet hip width distance, all four corners on the earth. On our next inhale, we're going to lift the hips up. Rolling up onto the shoulder blades here and grasping for the sticky mat or the hands underneath us. Now staying here in your truth, in your kindness, or exploring, if that sounds good, walking the feet out a few inches. Seeing how that feels as we draw the hips up towards the sky, relaxing the glutes. Walk out the feet a little bit more. And then come back all the way to your bridge. Release the hips all the way down to the ground. Coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. Knees out wide. Hands to the heart and the belly. Soften the eyes, close the eyes. And imagine that there is a bright light, a bright piece of sun or star inside of you. And you can feel it burning in you. Not a painful burn, but just an awareness that it's there. And then every time you choose to be kind to yourself or kind to those around you, even if it's hard, you can feel that little spark get bigger and glow brighter. Every time that you are honest with yourself about your reality, it grows a little bigger and brighter. Gently closing the knees like a book. Heel toe the feet towards the outer edges of the mat and let the knees drop in towards one another. Bringing the hands alongside of you. Maybe letting one knee drop in. Switching to the other side. Nice. And then heel toeing your feet back to center. Bringing the hands alongside of you as you extend your feet up towards the wall. Feeling free to keep a bend in the knees here. We just want our toes flexed down towards our body and our heels lifted up here. So we're counterbalancing our opening we just did in our bridge pose by stabilizing our core, staying here for 25 more seconds. Reminding ourselves that violence and awareness cannot coexist. So if this is too much, backing off so that you can coexist with your awareness. 10 more seconds here. And then draw the knees into the chest. Rock side to side on the lower back. Reaching for the outsides of the feet. Find happy baby here, drawing the knees down towards the ground. I really love rocking on my lower back here because it's like a little massage. Oh yeah. Nice. And then extending your feet back out, reaching your arms overhead and lifting your head up in your chest. We're going to slowly drop the feet all the way down to the ground, keeping the toes nice and flexed. When they're about an inch off the ground, keep them lifted there for 5, 4, breathe for 2, 1. Set the legs down, set the feet down. Nice. We're going to come into eagle legs here, bringing the arms out to T. So crossing the right leg over the left knee. Yeah. We're going to push down into the left foot as we pivot our hips slightly to the right, about an inch to the right, and drop our knees down over to the left side. Bringing our gaze over to the right side of the room if that feels good, up to the ceiling if that feels good. And just working a little bit more into our hips with this supine, this twist we are taking on the ground. Really stretching out through the T's and really stretching out through the hands, encouraging both shoulder blades to be reaching down for the ground. Inhale back up to center. Switch legs here by maybe adding a little windshield wiper back and forth. And then wrap the left knee around the right leg. Pushing into the right foot, lift up the hips a tiny bit to the left. And then drop the knees down over to the right side. Reaching through the fingers and maybe taking the gaze all the way to the left side of the room. Knowing that by doing this practice today, you are showing kindness for yourself. Taking this time to become more connected in the mind and the body by moving the body, right here specifically by compressing our organs so that we can give all of our organs a nice fresh blood flow. Bringing the knees back up, squeeze the knees in, and rock and roll a few times. Yeah. Eventually coming up to easy seated. And then coming onto the side of your mat. Coming into frog pose. Feeling free to grab a block or a bolster here. Bringing the knees out wide. Keeping either the heels in line with the knees here, or pointing the toes towards one another here. And then letting the hips sink down towards the ground, bringing the head onto the ground or a block. We're going to be here for about a minute. I'm going to look at my timer. So the hips are a really emotional place. We store a lot of energy. We're always moving them and using them. So when we come into the hips, sometimes we get overwhelmed by all the stories or emotions that come up. So if any of those start to come up, acknowledge it, but then breathe through it. Reminding yourself that this is just temporary. We won't be here forever. Ten more seconds. And then slowly begin to release out, however that looks for you, being gentle and kind to yourself. Nice. Nice. And let's make our way onto our backs for an inversion. And let's find shoulder stand here. So feeling free to curl your mat under, bring a blanket underneath the head. We're going to make sure to keep our head always just in line here. We're not going to move our head side to side. We're going to lift our feet up, our hips up, bring the hands underneath to support. Dropping both the toes down for a plow pose. And then lifting one leg up at a time. Releasing the fingers behind us. Staying here, dropping the ears down for your pressure pose, left man's pose. Releasing the hands and slowly rolling out vertebrae by vertebrae. Finding fish pose to open up the throat since we just closed off the throat so much. Bringing the hands underneath the bum, coming up onto the elbows, dropping the head back. Pointing the toes here, if that feels right. And then gently releasing out. Taking whatever else you need before we take Savasana. Here, maybe you need to dim the lights, put on some socks, get comfy. And then we're all going to meet in Savasana, letting the feet drape out, the arms alongside, nestling the shoulders away from the ears and underneath the back. Softly closing or softening the eyes. And coming back to the breath. This asana is as important as every other asana we do. So feeling our work and our effort to find some stillness and space. Staying here in our Savasana. We're gently bringing awareness to your breath, deepening your breath. Bringing small movement to your fingers and your toes and your head. And then rolling to your favorite side for fetal pose. Bringing your top hand onto the ground to ground yourself one last time in this hour. Acknowledging the fact that you made it to your mat. You are hopefully kind to yourself and truthful about where you are at in your practice. And And then gently pushing up with your top hand. Bringing the hands to heart center, closing or softening the eyes here. Coming to this quote, finishing with a quote that I liked by Zhao. Watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words because they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful day.